2, 1.
Here we go!
Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We stream it live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom! We back, baby. We back. And we got a lot to discuss, but we're going to take it slow. Today, it is draft month. And I want to start off with talking about my top 5 positions of need. I want to talk about the strengths. I want to talk about the concerns with y'all. All right, so stick around for that. Plus, in the roundup, we got some Cowboys smoke screen free agent news, but it's not your normal smoke screen free agent news, right? It's kind of different this time around, so we're going to discuss that as well. Hey, man, we back, baby. We back. Shouts out to your Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
Y'all, man, the love that y'all showed me. If you guys don't know, if you're new here, you just popped in. We had a healthy delivery. Our son was born very healthy, and we are blessed for that. And I thank you guys for the love that you've shown since last week. It's been overwhelming. It's been overwhelming, and we appreciate that. And right now, we're just trying to figure out this sleep thing. I mean, I don't know how this sleep thing is crazy, but we try to figure it out, and we'll get through it. You know how that go. But in the meantime, in between time, I am back. We'll be here probably this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and as we kind of work back into a normally scheduled program during this draft month. We'll have Foots on more. We'll probably bring in more guests as well to talk about the draft, and we'll keep it rocking, man. We got 24 more days until the NFL draft. It's here. It's close, man. It's close. But again, man, I really, really appreciate y'all. Y'all are the best. Somebody say, ain't no damn sleep. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? But it's all good, man. We are back. I'm ready to get back into this thing. Been thinking about where the Cowboys are in regards to the draft, because technically, let's be real, free agency over. So this is like a post-free agency type of show for the Cowboys. And but there might be one more move yet they're trying to make, and we're going to talk about that right now.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you!
Let me talk to you, Cowboys Nation. It's been a minute. Now, usually, when free agents are linked to the Cowboys, so this is a myth to me, but this is how it usually goes, right? A big name gets dropped out. Oh, well, the Cowboys, they're just using the Cowboys as leverage. That's usually how it goes. But for like the last 5 or so years, I kept saying, what leverage? Dallas is not paying any of these guys, so they're just using the name to use the name. It's a little different, though. I think this one hits Cowboys Nation a little bit different. It has more weight to it because of the names linked. And the names are Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook. Cooks, I should say. It's Cook. So, Jeremy Fowler, who is a national reporter, over the weekend, I think it was Saturday, had came out and said, hey, there's mutual interest for the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott. And before that, a beat reporter, Michael Gelkin, mentioned that it, quotes, bears monitoring and would be wise to monitor Zeke and Cooks in conjunction with a rookie pick. Oh, we'll break this all down with y'all here in a second. Before we do that, though, you can call into the show, 351-999-3787. Before we break down said players or what have you, I always find this funny. This really isn't news. Maybe Pat and I should have made this a bigger deal a couple weeks ago. But if you tune into the morning show, you would have heard Pat already basically say this well before Jeremy Fowler even brought it up. Here's Patrick No-C Walker, DallasCowboys.com, during our segment of the scientific method, where he basically said the same exact things.
And I've had conversations with some key people in the know who told me a few days ago, do not rule out a potential reunion with Ezekiel Elliott. The dialogue remains open. There have been some talks, not necessarily about contracts just yet, but there have been talks over the past few months between Elliott and the front office, just on a personal level, staying connected. That tells me the door is wide open there.
So this isn't breaking, shocking news. At least to me, it isn't. It shouldn't be to you guys either if you tune into the show. But when Jeremy Fowler says it, right, national guy, it goes public, and it's like, oh my God, the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott. Well, this shouldn't be a big surprise for a number of different reasons. Number one, Jerry loves Ezekiel Elliott, right? It was just 2 years ago, just 2. 1 season removed where he said this team goes through Ezekiel Elliott. And mind you, this wasn't the same Zeke. This was the kind of, we're at the tail end of Zeke, not the premier all-pro Zeke. So he loves him. Number 2, the locker room loves him, right? He's familiar with this team, this franchise, this city, all of that stuff. So that really shouldn't be a surprise that there is interest. But the third one is more of the football reasons. And it's because the Cowboys backed themselves into this corner, in my opinion. Kind of fits a need. Not me personally. There was other running backs I would have tried to fill that void with in free agency. They decided to go elsewhere and bring back Rico Dowdle. But he fits that kind of proven power goal line back that the Cowboys don't have right now. They can go into the draft, and we'll get there in a second. Get that. They could have signed somebody else and have done that. They elected not to. And right now they're tied to Ezekiel Elliott. Now, could this be a situation where they wait till after the draft? Very well could be. I don't see Zeke signing for quite some time unless it's here in Dallas and he's like, let's just do it. Or they can have this kind of under the table situation where they say, look, you want to be here. We want you here. Let's just wait till the draft, right? Let's see what we can get in the draft. We'll sign you in camp or something like that. But it does not shock me that there is interest here. Again, me personally, I would have signed a different back if they're going to sign him. He hasn't done it yet. They haven't done it yet. But this is where we're at now. You sat on your hands. And not just sat on your hands in free agency, because I don't think you need to go out and spend big money on the back. You sat on your hands last year. What do you mean? You could have got in front of this thing last year in the draft. And I want to talk about that here in a second once we get to our draft needs. Because straight off the back, we're going to talk about that position. But here's Mike McCarthy talking about this room and potentially bringing in another player, whether it be free agency or the draft.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just, being at this point, being in tune with the guys that where they are on the board, I think we definitely want to add to the running back room. I mean, we're not done with that room by no means. Whether it is a veteran or whether it is a draft pick. But yeah, it's I think signing Rico back was important. He's definitely someone that definitely was part of the the 1-2 rotation last year, so we feel good about him. But we got some young guys in there that'll be part of that jump that I'm talking about. You look at Hunter, Deuce, and even Malik. I mean, all 3 of those guys. I'm expecting them to take a big jump and compete for playing time.
Was he really a part of 1-2? I wish he was, Coach. I wish you took that situation and turned it to a 1-2 punch, but you didn't. Nonetheless, here we are, linking ourselves to Ezekiel Elliott, kind of essentially going backwards, not forward. And you put yourself in that position. My worry, because if you bring in Zeke, let's just say it. If you bring in Zeke, 1-year deal, cheap deal, a defined role, and you're not going to play politics, whatever, right? There's not like you got a whole lot to pick from. My worry. Am I wrong? Come on now. We are talking about the Dallas Cowboys. I want to be like, man, bring Zeke in. Zeke can play RB2 goal line, short yardage. Hey, get you 6-7 carries. Veteran locker. I want to think that. But what? Tell me why I shouldn't believe there won't be politics played. That's what worries me, man. That's what worries me. I feel like there will be politics played because of who he is. You know, they're gonna sell the jerseys. Everybody, you know, that whole thing is for real, man. And Jerry comes from up top of his box and says, you know what? Not really feeling this Rico thing. Whoever they draft, we got 4 years on the contract. We got one more with Zeke, man, and he's selling these jerseys and everybody. Let's go ahead and give him the rock. And he finishes now 3.2 yards per carry because you running the same shotgun run offense. You know, we'll get to the offensive line here in a second, but the scheme ain't changing. And now guess what? The conversation goes right back to everybody hating Zeke. And look, I don't hate Zeke. I just think it's time to move on and get some fresh legs in here, get some fresh ideas in here, and let him do his thing. Unless you bring him in here as a part of a committee and he plays a role and you use him in that role. I just don't trust that they would. And that leads me to number 5 on my list, running back. Now, this might seem low to y'all, but y'all know how I feel about the position. I feel like this running back group in the 2024 NFL draft, it is clustered on that day 2, early day 3. So that's probably why I have it so low. It's also the position in general. I feel like the Cowboys can get a guy. When I look at the strengths, none. Hey, by the way, if you guys feel there is a strength or concern that is not listed here, please feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll talk about it. But I don't think there is a strength for the Cowboys at the position right now. And if the right guy is sitting there on day 2 of the draft, would not shock me at all if the Cowboys jumped and grabbed their guy. Wouldn't shock me. The last time they were in a situation like this, well, I should say 2 times removed, because the last time they took Ezekiel Elliott, but 2 times removed, they went into the 3rd round and took DeMarco Murray. Would not shock me if they went to the 3rd round this year and took a guy that they think can be a potential lead back. Mind you, lead back is not the same as workhorse back. So that's where my concerns lie. There is no depth. And if you don't have depth, then at least you need to have a lead back. You have neither. You don't got a guy, a number 1 guy, and you don't have a committee, a real, in my opinion, real committee back there. You don't. You got, I like to do short kings, but you know, that's a satellite back, right? That's an RB3, throw him in there, satellite type back. Rico, I don't trust Rico to stay healthy as a lead guy. And they didn't trust him as a number 2. Let's keep it a beam. If they trusted him as a number 2, they'd have gave him more carries. He had more games with less than 5 carries than he had with more than 5 carries. So you got Dowdle, Von, Davis, Connor. And I know McCarthy's talking about, yeah, I'm expecting a jump. Look, I like Malik Davis. I do. I think Malik Davis, you know, can be somebody's on a committee somewhere. Maybe here, who knows? But if you're expecting Malik Davis all of a sudden to just snap, that's a bad way to go into this thing. Snoop Connor, come on, what are we doing? Deuce Vaughn, there's something there, but you have to have a plan for him. Don't lie to me. That's the other thing. Mike has already lied a few times. Sometimes you have to tell a lie, right? You can't give away your plan. But I can't really believe everything Mike McCarthy is saying either. As much as I like Mike, I can't believe everything you're saying, Mike. You're a good dude. So for me, is this too high or too low for y'all? I think this is about right. We're going to get to some of these other rankings. You could argue this can go higher. I'm not going to fight you on it, but there's other positions that I just value more. And I think you can get a running back day 2, early day 3 that can come in here and be your guy or be a part of being your guy in regards to a committee. I wish Dallas would have did this last year. I want to have the confidence that Dallas will do the smart thing, the most common sense thing, and that's get a complimentary back, because they already have the kind of lightning approach, slasher approach to this situation with Deuce Vaughn and Rico. But last year they should have did it, and they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Last year they could have easily, Cowboys Nation, taken a complimentary back to Tony Pollard, and they did not. So yeah, my confidence is a little shot on common sense approach. Even if you sign Zeke should not stop you from getting a future lead back or complimentary back, whatever. But there lies my other concern. If they do sign Zeke, maybe they go on this thing and say, oh, you know what? We got Zeke, we got Rico, we got Deuce. We'll wait to the 6th round again. Next thing you know, they're drafting Frank Gore Jr., who I think is much of a difference than what you got here. And I don't view him as a lead back. I'm just throwing out no disrespect to Frank Gore Jr. So number 5, too high, too low. Any strengths or concerns you guys feel I missed on there? Cowboy Gumbo has no confidence. Dallas, they self-sabotage. I just feel like they're such a reactionary organization. Been saying it for a few years here. You guys know if you've been rocking with the show for a while. I don't like how reactionary they are. They had a great shot to get ahead of multiple things last year, but they didn't. Aaron said, I wish they did running back in round 3 last year or this year. I'm with you, Mark. Again, I don't even hold my hot takes too much in high regard, but one of my hot takes was that I think Jonathan Brooks is damn near a lock in round 2. Perfect at 5. Running back has to be drafted. Cheaper by the dozen. No, Cap. Don't give up on Deuce. Just we gotta understand Deuce is a satellite back. That's all. I'm not thrusting Deuce Vaughn in there as a lead guy, power guy. These dudes try to use Tony Pollard as a power guy last year, y'all. Come on. Let's get a quick call and we'll get to my number 4. Good morning, Chris. How you doing, man?
Yo, Sky, what's up, bro?
What's up with you?
Hey, the production looks great. Everything looks great. You're doing a great job, and I'm proud to see your growth, bro.
Thank you, man. Look, these next 2 weeks is gonna be challenging because I'm the tank is on E right now, man.
You'll knock it out of the park, bro. I know you will.
Appreciate it.
So this is actually going to segue into something I'm going to say. So I'm from like the Philly area, and I'm actually going to WrestleMania this week. So you see I'm rocking Virgil today, right? Just it's a little hints. It's WrestleMania week. I'm gonna throw some wrestling shirts out there this week. But man, I'm so excited for WrestleMania week. But go ahead, my bad. So I talk to a lot of Eagles fans, and one of my best friends, he's a very logical fan, and we were talking about the Cowboys. And he was saying, I don't understand how they do some things so well, like especially important things when it comes to like drafting, but then they do some things so poorly. And we talked about like one of the key points being negotiations. It's like this is the front office that talks about that thinks that they want to win every deal that they're in. And for the most part, they never win any of these deals because they wait way too long to make them happen.
Fair. They don't win any of the kind of top tier deals, right? Like the Zekes of the world, the Des Bryants, D-Law, Dak Prescott, like these guys who are at the top of their games, where you could argue they might have kind of gotten ahead on some of these other deals, maybe like a Lyle Collins or Cole Beasley's, like guys who aren't necessarily the elites at their position. But then you could say, well, Jalen Smith wasn't a great deal. Terrence Steele right now is looking a bit iffy. Michael Gallup, Terrence Steele, these aren't even deals that they waited on. They thought they were being slick and got ahead of them, but right now they're not looking like great deals.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. And like when it comes to, here's my thing, right? like when it comes to free agency, because they draft so well, they have to extend a lot of these players. So I understand not going and getting some of the top guys, but I do think that there's a middle ground that they're not taking advantage of,
100%.
where it's like, we're not asking you to go get Chris Jones, but we want you to say, okay, hey, we lost this player. Let's go get this player who, you know, he might not be as good, but at least there's not a drop off and we have to panic and take a guy in the draft just because it's a
100%.
need. You know, like I feel like the guys that they lost outside of Tyron Smith, for the money that they got paid, I'm not like really panicking about any outside of Hankins and Tyron Smith. To me, a lot of these guys, like Biotic, like, all right, like he's an average center. Pollard, you know, Pollard did some great things for this organization, but at the same time, you know, his arrow's pointing down, and do you want to continue to pay a running back, you know?
Oh yeah,
at
that's
rate?
the other deal, right? You bring up Pollard and Schultz. I mean, yeah, man. Here's my problem, Chris. They are attached entirely too much to their own guys. Those middle ground players you're talking about, they could make those deals outside of outside of their organization if they stop. Look, Dorrance Armstrong, right? Franchise tagging Tony Pollard, franchise tagging Dalton Schultz, Michael Gallup. Like, these are guys who, look, you can take that money and go get you maybe a tier 2 guy, not a tier 1, but a tier 2 guy that can help you get over the hump. They don't want to do that because they don't. I guess they don't trust themselves outside of their own guys. But the problem then is I think there's more of a risk of being complacent with the same guys like a Dorrance Armstrong. I'm going to keep using him, no disrespect, as opposed to saying, let's take that money and go get a Danielle Hunter, right? And just say, hey, we'll bite the bullet on big money for the first 2 years, as opposed to saying, well, what if it doesn't work out? I would rather take that risk than keep a guy who's just, let's just be honest, man, he's not a hump player. You know what I mean? Michael Gallup is another one. Well, take that money and go put it into one of those, just one. I'm not asking you to do a whole bunch of these dudes. And let's see what happens. If it doesn't work out, I don't think it's going to crush you. You know, it's just 1 or 2 years you got to deal with the monies, and then you try something different. They are just so comfortable in doing what they want to do because it's producing 12-win seasons, and it's also producing money on the back end.
Now I'm going to land the plane on this point, right? So, like, to make like a basketball reference to this, so over the NBA offseason, when the Celtics added Porzingis, I was like, that's the move that takes them over the top because that's a great fit on that basketball team. I don't need big names. I need players that fit what we want to do on this football team to be added to this team to, like, for me to feel better, because I don't get you know, enamored by big name players coming on the team if it's like, all right, like, yeah, he's a big name, but does he fit with what we're trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, you don't just sign guys to sign guys. You absolutely have to fit what you want to do. And again, I think this free agency, there was a lot of those players, but that's not the game they want to play. They're big draft and develop, and the problem with that is when you have a draft like you had last year, you kind of getting put in this situation. And you said something earlier that I've been saying. Well, you said they draft well, and I always say yes, they draft well, but they have to draft better because they don't partake in trades or free agency. That's just facts.
Oh yeah, I know, 100%, and especially with how poor the draft was last year. For right now, we'll see where these guys go. They should have pivoted a little bit to say, all right, like, as an organization, we have to pivot for this year because we don't know about this draft class. So, you know, to make up for it, let's pivot a little bit here. Let's do something that we usually don't do in the draft or with this team, and let's see if it takes us somewhere.
With you, Chris. Appreciate the call, man. Good stuff.
All right, Steele, I'll talk to you, bro.
It's Chris. We don't wipe them 304s. Yeah, I thought last year was a perfect year to package picks, get aggressive. Because we talked about, even before we got to the draft, right? We talked about how the draft class, whoever, no matter what they did, really, it was going to be hard for these guys to come in and be bona fide starters because the Cowboys were kind of top heavy, right? They had guys that were kind of already put in these positions outside of really linebacker, and you could argue LVE and Damone Clark, but you could have drafted somebody to compete with Clark. Maybe they did with Demo. So we knew this was going to be one of those drafts of the future. That's what we talked about a lot. I don't think the Cowboys are in a position to just be like, oh, well, yeah, we'll just draft for 3-4 years down the line. Right? I thought last year was prime, perfect time to take that first round pick, that second round pick, and go get you a proven guy, sign them to an extension a la Amari Cooper, right? I don't know the name, but there's guys out there they could have moved for. Or move up, right? Jalen Carter. Somebody could have moved up. But that's me being an aggressive person. That's not who they are. They're a conservative organization. Flat out. Number 4. I tussled with this one. Now let me know if this is, I tussled. I went back and forth between defensive end / edge, which I think is legitimate, and wide receiver. I tussle. Here's why I tussle. Because I think both positions at the top are not needs. I think both positions you can go out and you can play. But once you get past the top, that's where you kind of say, all right, you could argue this is a need. Now, again, we're doing top 5, so we're not talking about like the number 1, number 2 needs. It was between wide receiver and edge for me. And the strengths at the receiving core, I think, are pretty obvious. CeeDee Lamb, all pro, one of the best wide receivers in the league. He's going to get the bag. He's continuing to grow as wide receiver 1. Teams are going to try to take him out every game. But I also have solid depth. I have solid depth. I think you could line up right now and still have a potent passing attack. We saw that last year. Right now. That doesn't mean you don't add to it. I'm not saying, just ignore it. But if they were to, right, they would say, you know what, man, I'd rather double up on the offensive line, grab me my linebacker, get me a running back, and we'll draft a guy later. But I get it, because you can go out there, you can play right now, and I think you can be a potent passing attack. You saw it in 2024 or 2023. However, though, the concerns. I don't think they have a true physical presence outside of CD, and I would even wouldn't consider CD like this, imposing physical presence. He's an imposing talent. And I don't think they have a future number 2 on the team right now. Aaron don't like the depth. I like the depth. I like, and when I say depth, maybe I mean CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tober. I can go out there right now and I can have a good passing attack when you combine it with our tight end. Now after that, that's where it gets a little funky. It becomes unproven. Hence why this is a draft need. But I like the top 3. Maybe I should have said solid starters. There you go. But they don't have a future number 2, and they don't have a physical presence, and I think that's what makes this a concern and a need. And this is a stacked wide receiver class. We said that last year too. Like if CeeDee Lamb goes down last year, what was going to happen? Fortunately, he didn't go down. You're in the same spot. I actually think you're in the very same exact spot as you were last year. If CeeDee Lamb got hurt, you got Brandon Cooks and Jalen Tober. Last year, if CeeDee Lamb got hurt, you had Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup. And let's be honest. No. I'm gonna say you're in a better spot, because I think Jalen Tober is going to be better than Michael Gallup was in 2023. So I think you're in a better spot in your top 3. But yeah, man. I mean, if your top 5 player at a position goes down, most teams are cooked. You know what I'm saying? Most teams are not going to be as good as they were if their top 5 player at that position goes down. If Jamar Chase goes down, they're cooked. If Justin Jefferson goes down, they're cooked. If Devontae Adams goes down, they're cooked. I can go on, the list can go on and on and on. Most teams are pretty much in trouble if their number 1 top 5 guy goes down, right? So I'm not looking at it as if an injury happens. If that's the case, quarterback, number 1. If he goes down, we're cooked. And I know you might say Cooper Rush 5-1. This ain't that. Anyway, I'm more so looking at it as CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tober. I can go out there and play, and I can go out there and Dak can throw for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. Did it last year. for me, it's the physical presence in the future number 2 that has this as a need. Yeah. Go get me, if they want to draft one, go get me a guy who's the future number 2 oppo of CD. (218) What it is, what it do?
Hey, Scott, this your boy Bishop Kane, man.
Bishop Kane got the new number. Should I save this number or not?
Nah, you ain't gotta say this one.
Right.
I got a little. I'm working on my other phone doing some more shit.
Man, get that money, bro. What's up with you, Bishop Kane?
Man, I gotta just piggyback on the last caller a little bit because I feel like, bro, because we the realists, but people be overestimating the Cowboys front office. Like, yeah, we could draft pretty good here and there.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you the real. As far as people's careers, we done failed so many people's careers. Zeke, like TP, like come on, man, just Dez Bryant, like come on, like I mean, it's a lot of people
all the greats from '95 on. Yeah, we failed them for sure.
We failed them. Like I'm talking about the greats, like bro, like as far as Zeke, that's my bro with Zeke. If they would have been running that 2-punch combo with TP and Zeke since like basically the second year of TP.
No, first year. They should have did it in 2019.
Yeah. Really on the cool when he was 36 or what number he was before 20. He was already cold. He was ready to get in the game.
His rookie year. And
he was ready to get at least 8 carries a game, 10 carries. He was already ready.
I know he was ready. He went to the point where they didn't even have to cave to Ezekiel Elliott's contract demands. Because I want to say, I don't think he was on the team. But they could have ran out TP at that point in time with whoever else was on the roster and said, all right, do your thing. TP showed us some things in preseason, and once you come back, we'll roll with the 1-2 punch. But they didn't. They caved, and then they said, well, since he's making the money, if you listen to Jerry, he brought this up about CeeDee Lamb too. Since Zeke is making the money, we got to make sure Zeke is getting all these touches, and that should have never been the case. You could have prolonged his career by splitting the carries is 2019 right away.
Right, and that's where I'm saying. Same way we just messed over Zeke's career. You just backdoored did the exact same thing with the running back came behind him. Franchise tag on 1 year. First off, he should have got when y'all seen TP go off 2 years ago. But when he got hurt in that San Francisco game, and we was like, damn, we can't win the game because TP go. That was that was the year you'd be like, oh no, we finna sign TP. He a dog. You know what I mean? Like.
I mean that
I don't know.
That was 2022, bro. So right after that they franchised him. I would have just honestly look, you know how I feel about running backs. I draft me a running back every 4 years or pair him with somebody, sign a cheap one in free agency. To me, it's about offensive line, play calling, and then the talent at back. Not saying you can't have no talent at back, but I didn't think they should have tagged Tony Pollard. Unless they were going to use Tony Pollard as a dual threat back, and they didn't do that.
Right, and I would agree with that too. And I think you done said it multiple times on the cool. We don't need to use the franchise tag at all if we can avoid that mud. Just
I don't know, running back.
If we can really avoid it,
silly.
Yeah, if we can avoid using it, we should like that Dalton Schultz franchise and that TP like them two back-to-back bad franchise tags.
Franchise tag on Dalton Schultz and Tony Pollard. That's $20 million.
Come on, bro. That's 2 bad ones back-to-back, like right back-to-back. That's 20 M's gone in 2 years on bull, you know. But like I was saying, they just did TP the same way. Like, bro, TP, y'all, man, they fail these players, man. I don't like all that talk about the front office. That's cute, but I done seen them fail multiple players' careers.
Who's
you know what I'm saying? Dez Bryant, that's my boy. Like I feel like as a Cowboy, you only gonna be as good as you is straight out of college. For a lot of those guys, they didn't never develop
Bishop
those
King.
guys. They didn't develop Dez.
Who's bigging up the Cowboys front office? I mean, I know there's some people.
Nah. Shoot, people always be bigging up the Cowboys. They love to say that we got. Oh well, at least we got a good front office.
Shit.
Like that's our hope. Like, and I don't see no hope in them. Like I don't see like what we need the cards to fall. If we win the Super Bowl, it ain't got nothing to do with the front office. It's gonna be because we had some luck that year, and the cards fell our way.
Yeah, ain't nobody on this show doing that. But I do see people on Twitter that put the cape on, and I see it. So you ain't lying.
Try to come to their rescue when the fans have valid complaints. That's what I'm really trying to say. It's a lot of those, especially those guys who get to talk to the Joneses. So of course they're gonna kiss their butt. But a lot of those guys unrealistic. They don't. When the fans complain about certain stuff, they look at these other teams. We not these other teams. We built on championship caliber. We are the Cowboys. This is America's team. We ain't these. So we don't. I hate when people be like, well, these other teams ain't won. They don't. Forget them. They ain't us. They ain't nowhere near us. They don't got the status we got. We are the number one sports franchise in the world.
I don't care about none of that number one status. We have not gotten to at least an NFC championship game in almost 30 years, bro. We're one of two NFC teams that not have been there in the last 30 years. That is egregious. That is egregious, and I don't know how you can put on a cape for the front office. Like this is the time and period to criticize the front office. We do it for 6 months in regards to the players. 6 months. It's now time to put the heat on the front office to make this team better, man. And I appreciate the call, Bishop King.
Appreciate you, Steve.
I was thinking about something yesterday. Was it yesterday or Saturday? One of the two. And I'm not saying this is a normal occurrence, or this is some anomaly. I'm pretty sure it is normal is what I meant. It could be normal around the league, but I was just like, well, when's the last time, the Cowboys built on top of a playoff run? I say quote unquote run. And what I mean is, okay, they went to the playoffs, maybe they didn't have the most success that they wanted to have, and they went out and been aggressive, or they improved record-wise. Been a long time, man. It's been a long time. I think it was 06, 07, and then that was the last time we went back-to-back playoffs until last year. But that was the last time they went to the playoffs and then improved on their record the next year. Again, that you look around the league, that's probably a normal thing because it's hard to improve your record, especially if you're 12-5. But at some point, for me, I look at this team and 12-5 the first year. Okay, let me see what I can do to get better. All right, boom. They did nothing. And they still managed to go 12-5 again. After that second year, right? And I'm putting all the chips in that table. All of them. I'm signing a big name guy. I shouldn't say big name. I'm signing a premier hump player guy. Make the trade. I'm pushing all the chips in the center of the table. They didn't do it, right? Boom, they go 12-5 again. All right. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, can't get fooled. 3 times, you would figure, okay, the 4th time, I'm really going to push the chips in. No. In fact, they're going backwards. In regards to the aggressiveness, I'm not saying their record's going to decrease. What I'm saying is they haven't been nearly as aggressive. They stopped signing guys. In 2021, they signed 10 guys. In 2020, they signed 8. Now, all of them was bare minimum dudes, but whatever, right? They still were bringing in guys that they were throwing darts at the board and seeing what stuck. And a few of them stuck. They signed 2 guys last year. They signed 1 now. Why are we reeling it back in? I don't know. That's just me. I look around the league and these franchises are aggressive. I'm trying to be just as aggressive coming off 12-5 seasons. Coach on a hot seat. Let's get to number 3. Again, another controversial one. I feel like a lot of y'all are going to flip this one. Defensive tackle. Defensive tackle, y'all. Is this too high, too low? Just about right. Again, I fought myself on pretty much all these except number 1 and number 5. But no, I guess 2, 3, and 4, yeah. Again, strengths here, none. Whoa, what do you mean, Sky? We got Osa Odigizua. Yes, we do. And I like Osa. I do. But let's keep it a bean. As much as I like Osa, I think you can argue there's question marks with all the defense. And when I say all, I mean all 3. There is only 3 defensive tackles on this team in reality. Real ones. Not talking about Chauncey Golston. Think he's going to move back to defense end. Osa Odighizuwa, Mozzie Smith, Carl Davis. And as much as I love Osa, and I do think Osa is going to do well under Mike Zimmer and Jeff Skanina, he's technically not the ideal mode of defensive tackle for Zimmer, right? So you could argue you can't just call him the strength. We don't know if he's going to be a strength in this defense. I'm more so operating on hopium because I think this is a good player and I think he's going to be coached up well. I like the scheme. I think he can fit. I think he'll be fine. He just doesn't fit the mold that he's traditionally done, and that's bringing in fat boys. That's bringing in 310, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus pound guys. All right? Then you got Mozzie Smith. You know, he's chock full of questions after last year. He dealt with the weight loss situation, right? The mental aspect of being a professional. Mike McCarthy finally came out and admitted, yeah, he lost some weight. And we've discussed on those matters. And then it comes out, Mozzie Smith shoulder surgery. Oh, boy. He's going to be out 4 to 6 months, but it's also been reported he'll be good to go for training camp. However, that means he's just going to be rehabbing over the next 4 to 6 months. Going into year 2, an all-important year where we need you. So that's why I say maybe you could argue defensive tackle can go up higher. Because of concerns, you don't have the ideal size right now to run the Zimmer defense. So, and they didn't go sign guys. And you damn sure ain't got the depth. Carl Davis? And I'm not putting Chauncey Golston as defensive tackle. Maybe in a Dan Quinn defense. Not in a Mike Zimmer defense. Shit, am I talking myself into going higher here with defensive tackle? I might be. Told y'all I tussle with this one. Osa's light for a 3, 100%. Mozzie's hurt, so we ain't even got. I mean, that's fair. Mozzie's going to be rehabbing for the next number of months. I think Osa, dog. I think Osa's game. I think he's going to benefit from having Skanina and Zimmer. I do, but that's being more leaning on the side of hopium as opposed to him fitting in this particular scheme. We haven't seen him play in this particular scheme just yet. You can say that about all these other guys, but he's a specific type of player. Right? He's a specific type of player. DT for the last 28 years. I have it as since Leroy Glover and then Jay Ratliff. Like those two were like I think the last two where I looked at defensive tackle and said, "Oh yeah, we straight." The two guys that we signed last year, Reek, Chuma Doga. Not Dante. Dante was 2021. We re-signed him. I'm thinking about outside. Who was the other guy? Who am I missing last year? I know y'all got it. Ratliff was tiny, but he was mighty. Rat was a problem, man, an anomaly, but he was a problem. Love Brandon Fisk. I think Brandon Fisk would be phenomenal. Last DT was a force was David Irvin. David Irvin was too much potential. He only 6 games really. Like he just wasn't here long enough for me to put him in that category. Whereas Ratliff and Roy Glover had sustained success. Fehoko's built like Osa. I disagree. Have you ever seen how built Osa looked like, Marcus B? Osa's like he's like a I don't know how to explain it, but I'll say this: I think Fehoko's a little bit more linear. That's all I'm saying. He's a little bit more linear. Who was the other guy we signed last year? No, last year was 2, but I can't remember what the second one is. Yeah, Junior not 280, 85. I think he came in like 265 last year. Shit, even that's what I'm saying. You ever see year 2 Osa? Osa, I'm not calling him Aaron Donald, but he has the Aaron Donald build. Go look it up. Ronald Jones. Thank you, Professor O. That was the other guy. I knew it was somebody ain't play. So it was Ronald Jones and it was Chume Doga. Those were the two guys we signed in free agency during the free agency period. Let me get to number 2. And honestly, I think I talked myself into flipping these, but for number 2, linebacker. Linebacker, I feel like if y'all been watching this show for the last 3 seasons, I feel like I've been putting linebacker at 1 or 2 for the last 3 seasons. You know, I do this every offseason. We rank our positional needs during draft month. And I just keep coming away with linebacker. It's always at the top. They had an opportunity this free agency to almost eliminate this position, period. The linebacking group, I think, in free agency was deep. They could have signed 2 guys, on their merry way. But they didn't. They opted to bring in a guy who I think is the only strength of the group, and that's Eric Kendricks. And what I mean by strength, because this next one, there's other good players, but in pertaining to the linebacker position, the strength is Eric Kendricks because of what he brings, not just on the field, but from an experience standpoint, knowing Mike Zimmer, the scheme, all of that. I just think it's a great addition because it makes sense. I think it makes more sense than a lot of free agent signings in the National Football League, but you can't count on him long term. He's here for 1 season. He is basically here to bridge whatever they decide to do at the position. Which leads me to my concerns. You have no depth, in my opinion. And right now, as it stands, I don't know that you can say you have a playmaker. And you can yell and you can scream at me about Marvion Overshown. I'm on a TBD with him. Torn ACLs in Dallas. I got PTSD. You damn right. You're damn right. Now, this kid, I do believe, will overcome this and be a great player for the Cowboys. But am I leaning on that in 2024? I'm not. Thus, I go into this draft, I got to come away with a guy I think that can come in here and challenge an Eric Kendricks and challenge a DeMarvion Overshown. And I'm not saying that has to be in round 1 or 2. With the linebacker position, you can usually find quality guys similar to running backs, right? You can find those guys late day 2, day 3. I'm big on traits and instincts at the position. And if you have traits and instincts at that position, a lot of the times testing or production in college will drop you to that 3rd or 4th round, 5th round. That'll happen. But if you got specific traits and you've got instincts, I could work with that. Especially if you handle what's in front of you, which was my number 3, defensive tackle. But linebacker for me, number 2, too high, too low. Or would you flip defensive tackle and linebacker? Yeah, I'm big on instincts, forever DC. Big on it. Deadbeat Dad Jamal. All right, let me get Twan from Connecticut. Give y'all my number 1, then we'll wrap it up with Toxic. What's good, Twan?
Sky, what's good, baby? God bless to you and you and your family. How
Thank you, brother. Hey, man, we hanging in there. I'm trying to figure out this sleep thing, bro. I forgot what it was like. It's been a while since I had an infant, man, and I forgot the sleep thing is crazy.
Well, I hope you catch up on some of your sleep, bro. But I would flip. I would probably flip D tackle for linebacker. Fair. I'm on the fence with it, but as of right now, my feelings, I would probably flip it because we got Kendricks. You've been going for a while. I feel like most of the content creators from the Cowboy Nation hasn't really been telling the truth. It's been a few. You have Landlord, you have Boss, you have Henny the Moore. But why is nobody really talking about us going rebuild? And the reason why I say that, Sky, is because we have everybody on 1-year deals as of right now. And we're not prioritizing Dak. We're not prioritizing CD. And I told you we're going to have this issue come draft time because I spoke to you about last month, and you said you got to see what we do in free agency. And I told you we do nothing in free agency every year. So now we're stuck here in draft time, and now we have to hit on our first 3 draft picks this year, Scott.
Yeah,
you know that?
You're putting pressure on Will McClay for sure. But they do that every year. They don't go out in free agency and try to sign guys that'll kind of take them to the next level. They go out and sign guys to kind of maintain where they're at, and they say, "Hey, Will, go save us. Go put on the cape and be Superman and save us." So you said, why are people not talking about soft rebuild? Dude, I don't know where you've been at, but I feel like all of Twitter, a handful of content creators are also saying not soft rebuild, flat out rebuild. Like that's the word. I think I'm on an island here. I don't think the Joneses have the balls nor the patience, excuse my language, to do either. I don't. I don't think that's the case. I've been 10 toes down on this. I think they'll sign Dak Prescott to an extension. I think it'll happen, even though national media and the community is on the other side of that. I think it'll get done. If it doesn't, then we'll have that discussion. But I'm on the side of it will get done, so I'm not going to keep talking about it at a nauseating level. CD will get done. Mike at some point will get done. Look, the Cowboys are about as predictable as any sports franchise in America. When is the last time you've seen them let 3 of their top 3 players all just say, "Oh, well, we're done with them. We're going to go ahead and do a rebuild"? Don't worry. I'll wait.
No, never. No, never.
Right.
But at the same time, those 3 people, I think will be signed. But everybody else, it's a whole new haul of a regime next year. That's what I see, honestly.
Well,
to me,
changing coaches, they've changed coaches. Well, you know, all these. I don't want to get into semantics, right? A soft rebuild, retooling, bro. Let's knock out all the semantics. Are the Cowboys rebuilding? That's the conversation, right? The Cowboys rebuilding.
Yeah.
I don't believe the Joneses again have the cojones. Did I say that right? Or the patience to go out here and rip and just tear everything. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't. Now, if it does happen, I should say when, I'll have the conversation in detail. They're so predictable though, CT or Atwan. They're so predictable. So I feel like these things will get done, and they'll have a new head coach in here, and we'll be right back on that wheel because they're probably not going to bring in a coach that will have a lot to say. But that's just how they're going to try to stay competitive. They're going to try to stay competent, but they'll never do enough to either go crazy all in or break it all down, because that break it down usually takes another 3 to 5 years or so to kind of get to where you want to get. So I think I'm on an island. I think there's a lot of fans and there's a lot of creators in the community that do believe this is a rebuild. I say, okay, well, if it's a rebuild, when the rebuild things happen, then I'll have that discussion. I don't think that's the case. This whole CD Lamb and Dak contract, what's new? No, I'm not trying to be smart here. This is how they've always operated, though, bro. Dez Bryant, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zeke Elliott, Zach Martin, Dak Prescott twice. This isn't new to me. This doesn't scream, "Oh my God, this is so different. They're tearing it down." No, they've done this so many times that I'm kind of actually numb. Like, all right, eventually this is going to happen because it always does, and we'll be right back here in the saddle and fired up for the season. That's just how it goes in Cowboys Nation.
You're right. You're right, but it's just I don't know. Me personally, I think it's a rebuild. I don't think Zimmer will be here next year. I don't think Mike McCarthy will be here next year. I only see them. I only see the core three: Dak, Micah, and CD are the only ones being signed. Because everybody else are 1-year deals, and they be rookie players.
When they changed coaches to Jason Garrett or to Wade Phillips, then to Jason Garrett, then to Mike McCarthy, did you consider those rebuilds?
No.
Really?
From Jason Garrett to Mike McCarthy, I really think it was a rebuild because we had most of our same core team.
But you consider this one a rebuild. Here's the thing. I think the last time they quote unquote rebuild was with Bill Parcells. Because they were 5-11 3 years in a row. And Bill Parcells was the one guy that could come in here and cause some confrontation and not just bow down to the Joneses, and who had legitimate power until he didn't have legitimate power, right? If I'm going to cook it, I need to shop for the groceries. You know, that famous quote thing. Since then, they have not operated in that manner. So, look, I just don't think they are, Twan. If it's the case, then I'll have that conversation. But to me, a rebuild would have been, hey, Dak, we're not going to sign you. We want to trade you. Pick a destination. That would have been a rebuild to me. ACD, we're not going to sign you. I don't need to ask you for a trade. We'll trade you. They're going to sign CD Lamb. Micah Parsons is going to be here. You could argue Dak Prescott's a little bit more of a toss-up, but I'm confident that gets done too. Those to me would scream rebuild.
I mean, I hear you. Next question. Do you with the 24th pick, do you trade back? Do you go offensive line, or do you get best player available? What do you think?
I would love to do a trade back. They need more picks. They need more picks, bro. They don't have enough picks in the top 100 or top 125. They only got 3 in the top 174, I think it is. Not enough. Not nearly enough. So I personally would trade back. I don't know that somebody at 24 is going to be screaming at you so much, unless maybe it's like Graham Barton, maybe JPJ, because we'll get to the offensive line in a second. But I don't think there's going to be somebody screaming at you that you can't move back, pick up an extra pick or two, and get a guy of a position of need. But I don't think they're going to do that. They haven't done that. Okay. No, they did it. They did it with Micah Parsons. They moved back what, y'all? Two spots.
They definitely did it with Micah.
They did it with Micah, so I can't say that.
Okay. No, that's pretty much all, Scott. That's pretty much all. Good call.
Hey, man, appreciate the call, Twan. Look, this isn't me saying criticizing anybody's opinion on this. If they believe that I get it. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything in free agency. They're not extending guys and things like that. So I 100% understand Cowboys Nation's frustrations and believing that it could potentially be a rebuild. We've been down this road with them. And maybe sometimes I lean too much into the obvious with this organization, or I give them the benefit of the doubt that these are just obvious things. Maybe I should discuss them more. But again, I asked the question. What is so different about these contract negotiations with Dak Prescott, CD Lamb than the previous ones? With Des Bryant, with D. Law twice, with Dak another time, with Ezekiel Elliott. Nothing. We just had this discussion with one of the callers. They're top guys. This is what they do. But you know what they'll do? They'll go to Jalen. Hey, Jalen. Hey, man, look, dog. You on that one leg. Now, go ahead and take this deal. Hey, Michael Gallup. Hey, man. We know you ain't a wide receiver one, but Toy ACI, want to take this? Hey, Terrence Steele. We like what we saw last year. you're on an ACL. You want to, because they ain't going to fight you. You know what I'm saying? Barry Church, Cole Beasley. These guys have no leverage to fight. DeMarcus Lawrence coming off Pro Bowl years. Dak Prescott coming off MVP season. Zeke Elliott being leading rusher. Des Bryant being one of the top guys. Oh, that's a different fight. Hell, they fought Zach Martin last year. Oh, that's a different fight now. Because it's top of the market fighting. So top of the market fighting, we have to win. And if we don't win, we're going to show you that we will not bow down. As opposed to saying, forget all these games. We want you here. You want to be here. Let's lock this up so we can go ahead and build around you. I know this is new to me, man. Could be a rebuild, though. I just feel like if it's a rebuild, that rebuild will start next year then. Or if it was a true rebuild, you burn it down now. Boy, there's a whole lot more into it, but it is what it is. Let me lock this up real quick. All right, TP snuck up in here. I got you. Toxic. Hold tight. I want to do my number one, and then I get you. But let me get TP from NC real quick. What's good, TP?
Hey, what's up, Sky? What's happening? Long time, baby. Long time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. You ain't on the island by yourself. I'm with you, dog. I'm with you. I don't think they're not in a rebuild. You know, I don't believe that. It's just that people got to understand the Joneses do things the Joneses way. They don't do it like any other. They don't do it like any other organization.
Yeah,
they just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? And Michael Parsons ain't going nowhere. CeeDee Lamb is not going nowhere. Dak is not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And when they come, and I finally figured it out. When they say all in, it's all in the way they do things. We're gonna go with what we got this year. And I do feel like if things don't work out this year, then I can say, well, they might be trying to maybe rebuild some stuff, but I don't really ever think they're in a rebuild mode. They just add to what they got. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way they are. You know.
Yeah.
So the Cowboy fans,
like, bro, how old is Jerry? 80, 81?
Yeah. He don't have time to be doing all that. He just don't have time to be doing all that. But like I said, I can.
Also,
when people think the Cowboys are out.
Well, I'm sorry. One more, TP. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead, TP. Go ahead.
Yeah, when people think the Cowboys are out, somehow or another, them summer guns come around the corner with something. But like I said, I'm at the point now. I'm just like, I'm gonna wait and see what we do in the playoffs. I'm just gonna wait and see.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm just gonna wait and see, man. Because I just think they got their own plan. And I think, and like I said, people don't understand. They talk behind the scenes. Like Michael Parsons went to Jerry's office and had a come to Jesus talk. You know, that came out of the blue. But I always figured like they do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff is not open to the public. And I just think things are going to be done a little different. I think the Cowboys are trying to go a little younger as far as on that line. And I'm just going to wait and see. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Will McClay, I still believe in Will McClay. I just do. I'm not putting everything on the draft. Don't get me wrong. But I do think they're going to tweak a few things after the draft, maybe add a couple pieces that could help a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like they did Gilmore and stuff like that. I think they're going to do stuff like that. But I think they're going to really try to hit in the draft. But
I mean,
I just think the Cowboys
TP, don't they try to do that every year? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but
they do things that way.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them, Scott, they do things that way.
They do. And I look, I agree with you. My confidence may be shaken from Will a little bit, but it's not to the point where I don't trust him to put together a good draft board and them select a good draft class. Last year, yes, it rocked me a little bit, but I'm not going to be
right.
Go ahead.
What's the thing of it is still, Will drafted Mozzie because Mozzie was destroying stuff at Michigan, but it's not. It won't. I can't blame that on Will saying that he kind of like a little bust on Mozzie because Quinn did things to Mozzie that Mozzie don't normally do.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
But the class goes deeper than Mozzie.
Yeah.
The class.
Yeah. If I'm a center, If I'm a center, let me be a center. If I'm a run stopper, let me be a run. Don't let me drop 40, 50, 60 pounds.
Right, but
you know what I'm saying?
You're focusing on just Mozzie. The entire draft class was a disaster.
Yeah.
It was a disaster. It's up there. It was a disaster, TP. So now they got year 2 to figure it out, but year 1 was an absolute disaster. There's no doubt about it.
Well, how about the guys that got injured? That's not Will's fault. Look at Steven. Steven got hurt. It had a lot of promise. He had a lot of promise in
He wasn't drafted though, TP. He was not drafted.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, but so again, I have confidence that Will won't bungle a second draft here, but there's still a lot of nuances that make this weird. You know, with the lame duck coach, lame duck. I won't say lame duck, but 1 year defensive coordinator. Like you're not setting yourself up in this draft either to say, hey, these guys are for the now and the future. You kind of have to draft for right now. And what if you draft for right now? Those guys don't all hit. And now the new regime comes in there like, I don't like this particular player y'all drafted. So now we're back to having this weird draft class 2 or 3 years in a row where is a different regime. 2023, you would have had different defensive coordinator. 2024, different offensive coach and a different defensive coach. 2025, you know what I mean? So they're in a weird spot, man. A weird spot.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I'm not gonna hold you up because I know you got to go.
Yes, sir.
But
yes, sir.
I'm just believing in Zimmer. I just believe in Zimmer, and I think, well, Mike McCarthy's like, okay, I understand what you're doing, Jerry. It's okay. I understand it's a business, but I do believe if they win a playoff game, Mike ain't going nowhere. I just honestly believe. I just believe it, and I think everybody. I think everybody that's there gonna be there. But I think they're going all in on what they got now, and we're going to see what's up with it. We're going to have this conversation after this season. And so I'm with it. I'm just going to sit back, and I'm just going to like your song goes, optimistic, baby. I'm just going to be optimistic.
I feel you, TP. Appreciate you. Hey, that's...
Optimistic. But look here.
He's still on the phone.
I want Trey Benson.
Say again so they can hear you. You want who?
I want Trey Benson, baby.
Trey Benson.
I want Trey Benson.
That's my guy, too. All right, TP.
Yeah.
Let me say this. You too, bro. Let me say this. I think it's going to take more than one from Mike. Yeah. Well, how does it happen? Because think about this for a second. Oh, this is a discussion we could really go down the rabbit hole. So let's say the Cowboys go 13-4, get the number 1 seed. Bye week, right? Divisional round, they win. That's one game. So they're in the NFC Championship. Then they get whooped, right? That might save his ass. However, they go super wild card, they win, get to the divisional round, and get whooped. I don't know, TP. I don't know. So I do think context matters. I do think the how will matter for Mike McCarthy. So one might not be enough unless that one is a bye week, divisional round win, and you're in an NFC Championship game. Boy, it's going to be tough for them to fire Mike McCarthy then. Yeah, for sure. So the how would be something to monitor. And look, another reason why I don't think this is a rebuild year is because I still think this is a ridiculously talented team in the sense of the talent is good enough to compete. The talent is good enough to be, especially in day and age where 7 playoff teams. I do think this is a team that can win 10 games and get to the playoffs. But that it's not about that, right? It's not about that. It's about how did we get there? How are we playing towards the end, and then doing so in the playoffs, the production in the playoffs. That's what really matters. 10-7 would be fine if they win. They go on a run in the playoffs. We've seen that happen. But go watch how those teams got there. Mike McCarthy's Packers weren't juggernauts. They were a tough, gritty-ass team that fought at the end. And then when it got to the playoffs, they knew how to fight when they got there. Giants, we know about them. The Ravens, all that's possible. But it's about how they got to that point. You go 10-7 and it looks awful. Oh, yeah, it's a one and done. But that's a discussion way down the line I was going to have before. All right, number one, do I need to say what number one the draft need is here? It's the Sky's number one draft need, though. Might not be yours. Offensive line. Notice, I did not say tackle. I did not say center. I did not say guard. I said offensive line. Because it's not just one position. It's multiple. And right now, the discourse with this group centers around what could be considered a strength. And what I think the Cowboys consider a strength. I talked about this last year, and I brought it back up again a few months ago once the offseason got here, and we thought that Tyron was going to be going. Tyler Smith's versatility. Yes, it is a strength. But, boy, I wish they figured this damn thing out. I do. And I'm going to talk to you guys about that a little bit more. But here's McCarthy on Tyler Smith. They asked him, hey, is he going to be center? Is he going to be guard? This is what Mike had to say.
Keep Tyler Smith at guard. You just said that.
As of today, I mean, yeah, let's get him. Let's fill up the room, and then we'll look at it. Because I mean, the goal is always to get the best five on the field. But we've had this conversation every year since I've been here. So when does that occur? I mean, just look at our training camp last year. We didn't have the five starters practice together until the week of the first game. So it'd be nice to have all five of your guys that you feel are going to be starters, practice throughout April, May, June, and through training camp. Because to me, that's the cohesiveness of your offensive line. You look at that statistically over the history of football, it equates to winning. But we have veteran players that don't they're not going to work a lot in training camp, and so we've gone through that. But we like I said, we took a big step last year with the youth of that group, and it'll be a little younger even again this year because hopefully with this group of offensive linemen coming in through the draft, I mean it'd be great to add to that room. It's an excellent room. It's a room that will definitely improve just based on who's in there today. But yeah, we'd like to continue to add to that.
Hey, speaking of the draft, what are your
But wait, there's more. Stephen Jones, remember, a few weeks back, asked him the same question about Tyler Smith, tackle, guard. That's what Stephen said.
Would you prefer to keep Tyler Smith at left guard? That's remains to be seen. I mean, it's starting to feel like Larry Allen all over again. I mean, the great thing about Tyler is his versatility. He could be a great left tackle too. I mean, Larry Allen, I think, played either 1 or 1.5 or 2 years at left tackle. I think he made all pro those years too. So he can. Tyler's got that in it, and I think at the end of the day, when we're all through massaging it, we'll have a good spot for him. And the great news is we have Tyler Smith, and his versatility certainly brings options to the table in terms of how we look at this team as we move forward.
That's the brass on the versatility of Tyler Smith. Yes, it's a strength. It has been a strength since last year. And I've been consistent on how I feel about Tyler. I think he can be a beast wherever they decide to play him. I do. But I think it serves him and the team best to stand on a position and let him work through it. I get it. He's young. He's super talented. But what good does it do the team if they continue to move him back and forth this early in his career and basically saying, hey, Tyler, you're going to play wherever the chips fall from year to year? I don't think they can do that. I don't think they should do that. Let me not say that. Because they obviously can, because he's good and he played left tackle as a rookie. He was an all-pro at guard. I just want them to just pick a spot. Pick a spot. Now, the conversation, the discourse that's happening right now is where to put him, right? I'm hearing both sides. I get both sides. I know how I feel. If it's 2024, I think if you move Tyler Smith to left tackle, you got Bass at left guard, you can probably get through a season with that. Will you be worse off than last year? Probably, right? Because All-Pro Tyler Smith at left guard, right? And then Tyron Smith, All-Pro left tackle. You don't have an All-Pro at either of those positions now. Or do you say, hey, man, Tyler Smith is a All-Pro left guard. I'm not messing with him. Let's go get me a left tackle. I get that too. I just need him to figure it out. And I don't like this whole back and forth. I don't. And here's why. Because what if, now we're going to play some games here. What if they decide to roll with this, right? Oh, we're going to see where the draft falls. And they put Tyler Smith, let's say, at guard. They keep him at guard. They don't get the no. Let's say tackle, because the tackle doesn't fall to him. They say, hey, man, we're going to kick you out. We ain't like the tackle we wanted in the first or second round. You playing left tackle. We're going to roll with TJ Bass. I like TJ Bass, but we're just playing a hypothetical here. What if TJ Bass ain't it? You didn't address guard in the draft. Now you go into 2025 with potentially needing a guard, a center, and another guard. That's a funky game to play. And I think TJ Bass can compete for a starting position, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But do you want to get, quote unquote, weaker at two positions is the conversation. The other conversation is at center. More discourse at this position, which is shocking to me. Again, I like Brock Hoffman. There ain't no chance in hell I'm not drafting a center because of Brock Hoffman. Can't do it. Won't do it. But maybe they will. Maybe they'll say, Brock Hoffman, TJ Bass, we like you for 2024. Then that goes into the other part of my concerns, your depth. So under Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys have absolutely needed depth. Every single year, 2020, 1, 2, 3, we'll see what 4. Absolutely needed their depth. A lot of that had to do with Tyron Smith, but other guys got banged up too. So depth was important. Connor McGovern's of the world, right? Brock, could he be that? I don't know. Brock Hoffman's of the world. TJ Bass is of the world. These guys were needed last year. And they played and they put some decent tape out there from time to time, for sure. More so for me, Bass than Hoffman, but I like Hoffman's grit. This dude is nasty. I like him to be my utility backup. He has to prove it to me. I ain't saying y'all, just to me, that, 17 game starter, our future center, let's roll. I'm not ignoring the center position because of him. Because once again, if that don't work out, you rely on our undrafted guy who's kind of been a bit of a journeyman to be our center of the future. And it doesn't work out. Now you just wasted a season where you could have took your center, get him acclimated, and in year 2, he's ready to go. Not saying he's not ready to go year 1, but year 2, he's not having to catch up for whomever the quarterback is. Right? If it's not Dak Prescott, you don't want to have offensive line issues. So that's why getting it right in a draft at offensive line is huge. And I am not off of potentially double dipping. Nope. And look, maybe it's a bit contradicting because yes, you need to be able to develop 5th, 6th undrafted guys. You absolutely have to. But boy, I'm confident in Mike Solari doing that. I don't know, Cowboys Nation. I would almost rather bank on the talents and potential of some top 100 guys than bank on the coaching of Mike Solari for a 5th, 6th, 7th undrafted guy to be my future. That's the position they've put us in. That's the position they've put us in, man. Now you talk about Callahan, Munchak, old boy over there in Philly, what's his name? Stout, what do they call it? Stoutland University. Stoutland University took a rugby player. And he's a wall over there. Whole different ball game, man. Number one for me, offensive line. Get this thing right. And it's not just for now. It's also for the future, whether it's Dak Prescott on an extension, whether it's a new quarterback on an extension. Another reason why I don't think they can afford to blow it up in that manner. You get cute here at the offensive line position. You go into 2024 and say, TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, and just one of them dudes don't work out. Oh, guess what? Zach Martin's a free agent. You have to, in my opinion, draft at least one more core guy up front. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago. I ain't gonna be greedy. All right, let's say no double dip. No double dip here. No tackle center. Cool. I won't be greedy. But I need one. Here's why I need one. Preferably center. I need a center for my future to pair with my all-pro Tyler Smith. And I'm a bit more optimistic on Terrence than y'all. But let's stay on the optimistic side with Terrence here. Because he's shown that he can be a quality right tackle. So Terrence still be here for a few years, right? You got Terrence, you got your center, and you got Tyler, depending on where you want to put Tyler. I need at least 3 of those guys as my future, and then I can fill in the other 2. Maybe I can roll with a TJ Bass and sign a guy in free agency or try to develop a guy. But I need at least 3. I can't go into 2025. Zach's retired. Hoffman ain't work out. TJ Bass is an upgradable player. And now I'm sitting on the offensive line needing 3 positions. You better hope Terrence is the guy too, because Terrence, you're going to need 4. Too many. It's too much. And all of his centers around this versatility crap. Pick a side, man. Not you, Tyler. You're going to do what the coach say do. Because if they tell Tyler this is what you're going to be, guess what now, y'all? Tyler can go and work at that position in the offseason. He can dedicate his time and his craft to be better at that position. Hey, Tyler, you're going to be our left guard. You are next Zach Martin. Bet. Let's go work on that. Hey, Tyler, you know what? I know you was an all-pro, but we really think you have a higher ceiling at left tackle. Bet, let me go work on that. Stand what we doing. February, he can't work at a specific spot. March, April. Hell, who even knows if May or June? I know that's after the draft, but you don't know. Now we get the OTAs. All right, now this is where you're going to be. Or, okay, we're going to train you at both spots. Is Zach Martin all-pro trained at both spots? Did Tyron Smith train at left and right tackle? Did Frederick train at guard and center? These are all our pros. No. Stop pussyfooting around with Tyler Smith. Put him at a position. At this point, I don't give a damn where it's at, man. Y'all can argue that. Just give me him at one spot, and now I know what I need heading into the draft. I know what I need in free agency, and I know how to build around it. There's different things you can do with Tyler at guard than Tyler at tackle, and vice versa. Maybe I can build my game plan around that on the ground. Maybe I'm asking for too much. All right, Toxic, bring it home, brother.
Good morning, Sky. Just wanted to say first, congratulations to you and your family. Hope you had a lovely Easter. And congratulations to, just your wife, Michelle, and making sure that,
no, you had it right.
Everything went smoothly. Wife? Okay, right. Sorry. Didn't I? In today's climate, just trying to be safe. And that everything went smoothly. Many blessings to you and your family. Your new son doesn't realize how incredible of a father that he just got, and that he's passionate about his craft. Just wanted to emphasize that very happy for your family.
Thank you, Toxic. Appreciate you, big dog.
Now let's get the pleasantries now that they're out of the way. You've been gone for a hot minute for a good reason, and so you missed some good things, just like when Stephen Jones looked like he was with this popped-up collar from an eHarmony ad talking about we did our job, and hearing from Mike McCarthy saying things that he's been saying. And, you know, you're hitting a great nail on the head about continuity and foresight. And the more I hear from different aspects of the organization, it really just sounds like that they are not on the same page and they don't really know what the hell they're doing outside of today. For instance, you brought up Bergeron last year.
Yeah.
You knew last year what your cap situation was going to look like because trust me, you can forecast what you roughly think. They'll build models to see, we think the cap is going to go up this much. We're going to roll this over. So they knew last year that Tyron Smith was going to be, quote, too expensive for them if he left.
Or
so you
add to that real quick, Tox. I don't mean to interrupt. Apologies. Add to that, you should have known the Tyron Smith situation because either he was going to be too expensive because he did play above expectation, or he was going to be hurt again and you were going to move on anyway. So in reality, you pretty much knew you were moving on from Tyron Smith, and you were reluctant to draft his replacement. So now we're in this situation where, okay, where are we going to put Tyler Smith at? But go ahead.
So now we get to last year's draft. Will McClay does his thing, and now here we are, and fans rightfully are saying last year's draft class was a disappointment, which if you're banking on your draft class for year one immediate returns, especially picking that late to step in for proven veterans, already a fallacy. But on top of that, it sounds like you weren't even cluing Will McClay then on the long-term big picture of, hey, it may be that Tyron Smith, isn't going to be here. Maybe we should look and invest in this tackle instead. It just seems like that everyone is siloed and everyone isn't talking to each other, and there isn't a unified plan on what we need to do. And you're seeing it now, even with Tyler Smith. Brought up an excellent point. I don't even think the coaching staff knows what they want to do with Tyler Smith right now, because that's the kind of culture they've created.
Yes. I feel like the coaching staff wants to put him at a position. And look, I'm just speculating here. They know what they want to do with them. But you hear Steven talk, right? And you hear Jerry, and they're the ones that are going to control this, which again, that goes to a whole other problem. Because I feel like if it was just centrally a coaching decision, normally coaches do not play around with that. You heard what Mike said. Mike said, look, man, best five, right? Like I'm trying to put up, if he had a central concentration on what I need heading into the draft for free agency, because Tyler is at a position, he would go get that. But he doesn't, because, them up top, they're saying, well, we're moving on from Tyron because we can do some things with Tyler once we get to the draft. And the draft, we damn sure know, is not controlled by the coaches.
And other callers have said it today, and you've emphasized it too. To me, I view the NFL draft like a lottery. And when the further you get from the first pick, the lower your odds of you hitting on a player. Just by pure, there are 24 players selected, or 23. You have the 24th pick. Chances are a lot of good players are going to be gone. If you are banking on that, I know you don't like splashing the pot, but my goodness, dude, you are a high-risk gambler, and you are really messing with fire, and you're messing with a lot of probabilities and variables before it even gets time for your turn to pick. So when I hear fans ask, who do you want at 24, it's like, I don't even know who's going to be there, let alone what nonsense is going to happen the day before. A lot of things can change before we even get there, but that's how we're going to team build? That is insanity. That is absolutely the risk tolerance with that. Either you don't care or you just like shooting from the hip. Go ahead.
They
sir.
constantly talk about like, hey, we want to make sure we're not backed into a corner. We're not drafting with the munchies. We're drafting. We're in a position to do BPA. They did none of that. They never put themselves in a position to do so. And like you said, 24. There's a lot that happens prior, right? And also, if we're talking pre-free agency, free agency, you're supposed to sign guys so you can be BPA. They didn't either. And honestly, even at the linebacker guy they signed, you can't say, okay, we're going to wipe linebacker off the board. No. All the needs that you had in February are the same needs in April, which is a good bit, right? So it's almost impossible to be like, hey, man, I'm narrowing down this one player at 24 or this one position, because you could argue a handful of positions can be chosen there because of them needing it.
Exactly. And one of the last points I'll make is this. In my line of work, a saying I've always heard is money talks, bullshit walks. Mm-hmm. It's the emphasis of my life. So when I see that early in March or last March that Jerry Jones put $100 million in equity investment into his own company, his money, but he's then talking about how poor he is, how he can't, Tyron Smith will wreck our salary cap. To me, again, that just shows them what their true priorities really are. If a guy was dependent on his job to get this right and didn't have the last name as ownership, this would be a totally different scenario. Look how John Lynch moves. Look how Howie Roseman moves, and look how we move. To me, I think, and you hit the nail on the head with this earlier with all these Dak Prescott negotiations, do not fall for this. So this is the way the Jones operate to try and stay relevant. That is all they're going to do this offseason, to try and save face for the fans. The only way a Dallas Cowboy player gets a ring is if they get married. So that is why I am at the point where I hope Dak Prescott leaves, just like Matt Stafford does, just to prove to so many fans that the issue isn't the players, it's that the players are not in position to succeed when you have an ownership that cares more about making money and being relevant in the media than actually competing. So if they sign Zeke, all you Zeke homers out there, we'll know who you are. Enjoy paying $90 for a jersey to see a guy go 2 yards in a dust of smoke, and then we'll hear all the excuses to why he can't run anymore. Dude is washed. The only reason why they're bringing him up is because they want to sell jerseys and they want fans to actually believe they care. Other than that, Sky, I had a lot of hope last year because that was the best chance they've had since 2007. And then Fat Garrett rolled that game plan out there with Dan Quinn, who was too busy on Zillow to give a damn about his game plan. You lost the same exact way you've lost the last 28 years. Instead of one war that lasted 28 years, we've been fighting 28 wars over the same 28 years. It's just a self-licking ice cream cone. So I feel sorry. I feel sorry. If I'm Micah, I don't want to play in Dallas. Micah wants to win. Micah wants to be great. The Cowboys general managers do not want to be great. And for that, it breaks my heart to say this, but unless something drastically changes, I don't want a franchise to be led and rebuild by a guy that the only reason they have their back-to-back franchise quarterbacks was because one was an undrafted free agent that Sean Payton vouched for, and the other was because they missed out on Paxton Lynch and Connor Cook. Those are not the guys I'm banking on for a rebuild that fell into 2 Powerball wins, and they still didn't do shit with it. Other than that, I ran it long enough.
Yeah.
Happy April Fools, everybody. Enjoy no activity from Dallas. Other than that, looking forward to you back on Voch Lombardi. And you two keep doing up the great work. Again, congrats. Bye.
Do you have, man, our weekly toxicity from I don't know where I go from here. Toxic. Like I said, man, we've said a lot of this. Said a lot of truths there, man. But yeah, there you go, man. Toxic with its toxicity there, and it's real. You know, a lot of that. I don't want to go overall again, but we in some doo doo, man. But just gotta hope that we can overcome it. That's all I can say about it, man. I can tell, Toxic. I can tell you've been holding that in for a week, man. He said, I'm getting mine now. He said, shit, let me cook.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook.
Toxic said, I don't give a damn.
I said, let him cook.
I don't give a damn about your top 5 draft needs, man. This team, Jerry Jones, Steven. And guess what he gonna do? Next week, this team, Jerry Jones, Steven. That's Toxic, y'all. If you're new here, that's what he do. That's what he do, man. All right, let me get some super chats. I got hijacked by Toxic there. I don't even know where to go. Super chats. Here we are. I appreciate y'all dropping some super chat. What's the date? April Fool. You know what? I'm getting to the point where I forgot it's April Fools. Has there been any fake reports going on? I don't really partake in that, but shouts out to your free DC4L.
Super chat.
Says here, welcome back, Scott. Congratulations on the new edition. Thank you. 100% appreciate you on the new edition. Thanks. Just trying to get some sleep now, bro. Still them boys drop 5.
Super chat.
He said, Jerry and Son say at the end of the day, the day is over. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. This is definitely more Jerry isms. At the end of the day is over, and think they dropped the gem. Yeah, man. They do a whole lot of talking. I try not to hone in on too much of it, but sometimes in regards to Steven, Jerry, I really don't like listening to him. Steven will say some things that obviously, or obviously makes sense or shows you who they are. Tricks dropped 2.
Super chat.
He said, are you ready for the final boss tonight? Listen, man. The Rock, his new theme, I actually got this loaded in the clip. If y'all ain't hear it goes so hard, bro. Hold on, let me see.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
It mixes old rock with Hollywood rock, and you get the final boss rock. It got the Hollywood theme. Stop playing with him. Hey, WrestleMania finna be lit. I'm going crazy, man. I'm going crazy. What we at here? All right, my bad. I got a little bit carried away with it, but it goes hard, man. And they even have the Titantron that matches. It's just, honestly, if I was doing a wrestling podcast, which I should be, that might be the best. That might be the best of all time. Real right? Now, Jay Cargrills goes hard too now. Jay's entrance go crazy. It got the little X-Men theme in the back. Anyway. We in OT. What y'all talking about in here? I know, Jay. I know. And I thought about it this week when I was out. I said, you know what? This would be a good time to get my wrestling pod. And I keep teasing it. My bad, man. Yeah, Jade. If they handle Jade Cargill right, like she has the chance to be bigger than Charlotte. Now I think Charlotte a little right, but she got a chance to be like all time. But they got to handle her right though. Yeah, that theme is goated. I wish they would have waited to bring it out for WrestleMania though, but it'll be hard. Rolo said, me and Robert De Niro dads at the same age. Dog, like I'm 7 years removed from my youngest, and getting back into the infant stage is definitely a work in progress. But we here, we get through it. That brings me back to the schedule. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me today. About 500 y'all came on back. Thank you so much. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as we kind of work back into this thing. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'll let y'all know what we're gonna be doing Wednesday. And then I think we'll be back to regular schedule program. And the draft will be here, man. It'll be here sooner rather than later. Aaron dropped 5 on the way out. Can you imagine the need at linebacker if Kendrick didn't change his mind? Cowboys got lucky. And hey, Aaron, There's so much more we can dive in. Thank you, hallelujah. Hey, I heard the morning. I heard the mornings wasn't the same on these streets. That's all I'm saying. I heard it wasn't the same, but we back, baby. We back, and I'm excited. I really am. Even though I may be running on E, when we start the show, when that drop and I hit y'all with that boom, I'm giving y'all 110% every single time. And really, it's 110% even before the cameras come on, because I'm putting in that same amount of work. And that's just how it is, man. I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to cheat y'all when it comes to this content. All right. With that said, good stuff today. If you missed it, we talked about my top 5 positional needs. Number 1 for me was O-line. Number 2 was linebacker. Number 3, defensive tackle. 4 was wide receiver, and 5 was running back. We kind of mixed and matched some of those. We flipped them. We had a good conversation. I knew today was going to be a good dialogue. Appreciate y'all for having that dialogue with me. We'll be back on Wednesday. Let me hit this damn button though. Oh, I forgot to prep. Yep, I'm rusty. Bear with me. It's been a minute. What's that song? Running low, running on empty? Dog, the gas tank is on E, but I know my car, so I know I can make it home. Right? That's how I'm feeling, man. We out of here. Love y'all.